Our fates live within us. You only have to be brave enough to see it. This movie quote was by Merida in the Pixar movie Brave. Folks, I love it when people say they have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. When you have a growth mindset, it means that you embrace changes rather than avoid them. You learn from constructive feedback rather than ignore them. It's a difference between continuous learning versus the desire to just look smart. However, just saying you have a growth mindset is not enough. It really depends on what you are growing. There's another quote I want to share. Technique and ability alone do not get you to the top. It is the willpower that is most important. This quote was by Junko Tabei, the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. In today's episode, I'm going to dive into the topic of why growth mindset isn't enough. Wait, what? What do you mean? Well, it's broken down into 3 parts. What you grow is really important. How you grow will indicate if you're growing efficiently or sporadically. And where you're growing will determine if you're in alignment with your soul. Each growth stage demands different rhythm. So how do you find out which stage you're at? Tune in to find out. Let's cue the intro. Welcome to the Boom Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Benjamin Ye. This show is about how to create success on top of a solid foundation of your mind, body, and soul. I created this podcast to give you perspectives and frameworks on how to strengthen your mindset and gain clarity in finding your true north. It's time for you to live an extraordinary life with vision that you designed. Let's get to work. Hi folks, welcome back to episode 21 of the Boom Vision Podcast. First of all, I want to do 2 quick shout outs. The first one is Happy Mother's Day. I know Mother's Day was just recently passed a few days ago, but I want to say thank you. Thank you to all the mothers out there for your love, sacrifice, and relentless strength in raising your children and family. You are the backbone of your family, and I want to acknowledge all that you do and more. This is why all the quotes I share in today's episode is dedicated to all the strong women out there. The second shout out is that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. You've heard me say this before, that health is wealth. Well, the same thing goes for mental health is wealth. And that's why for today's episode, I want to focus on what it means to have a growth mindset that's in alignment with your vision and soul. There's a quote I want to share. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. This was by Jane Goodall. Folks, having a growth mindset is great compared to a fixed mindset, but is that enough? Why is growth mindset not enough? I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. The first part is, what are you growing? It's one thing to be always growing, but are you growing seeds or are you growing weeds? Are you growing seeds that nurture you? Or are you growing weeds that deplete your energy, your nutrients, your soul? If your mind is your garden, then your thoughts are your seeds. You can be growing fruits and flowers, or you could be growing weeds. Do you say, I can't, more often than you say, I can? Do you tend to question yourself in taking on new challenges, saying, why would I do that? Versus saying, why not? What you say has power and energy. What thoughts you say in your inner voice plants thoughts. The question I want you to ask yourself is, are you planting seeds or weeds in your mind garden? Now, what you plant isn't just thoughts. It's ideas, it's relationships, it's your career or businesses. Are relationships that you spend time with supporting you or depleting your energy? Are the businesses that you're investing your time into bearing fruit and making you feel alive? Or is it depleting your inner spark? Now, the second thing is how are you growing? How you grow will determine how efficiently or slowly you grow. So here I want to share a personal story. It's what I call the Wi-Fi story. So back in early 2021, when we were right in the middle of the pandemic, I remember our Wi-Fi in our house was really inconsistent. I mean, for every hour of internet that we get, there's about 5 minutes where the Wi-Fi just completely gives out. And as you can imagine, this was really problematic because our kids were having school through Zoom. And so our house was really dependent on having strong and consistent Wi-Fi. And so the first time I called the cable company, they sent a technician over, and the first thing they did was they changed out the combo of the cable router and modem that we had. And so when they changed the device, it happened to work for the first couple of hours, but then sure enough, the following day, the same cycle happened. For every hour of internet, there's about 5 minutes that it would just cut out. And so this was becoming increasingly frustrating for my family. And so I called the cable company again to have them come over and take a look. And I explained what they did before. And so the second time they came around, the technician actually changed the machine to two different devices. The cable router and the cable modem were now two different devices that they actually installed. And so it worked for about half a day, but again, the Wi-Fi was just really inconsistent. And so now my whole family is going nuts about it. And so in the third time around, I said, hey, look, this is not working. I don't think you guys are fixing the root cause. You've already changed the machine. I don't think it's a machine. But sure enough, when the technician showed up the third time, all they did was follow the same protocol. And so they swapped out a new cable router device and a new cable modem device, but it didn't solve the problem. Because sure enough, after they left within another day, now it's every 30 minutes of internet, I get about 5 to 6 minutes of downtime where it just doesn't work. And so at this point, it reminds me of that Albert Einstein quote. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Clearly, by calling the cable company, they're not able to solve the root cause because it's the third time going around. And so we have a tech wizard at our kids' school, and his name is Stuart. And so finally, I called up Stuart. I was like, Stuart, I am in trouble at home. I really need to have consistent Wi-Fi, and I hear that you're the go-to person. Can you make a house call and come over and help us fix the problem? Thank goodness we had someone like Stuart. He came over my house the following day. And what he did was almost the opposite direction of what the cable company's technician did. He first saw where the electricity and the cable was entering our house. And as we actually reverse engineered, okay, if the power is coming in and the strength is good, then what's actually happening between why the internet is just not being consistent. And so when we went into the room where we house all the cable cords and where the cable router and modem was at, once we opened the panel, what he found out was that my internet was being split 4 ways. There's what's called a 4-way cable splitter, and that was what was initially installed when our house was remodeled, because we had 3 bedrooms and an office where our general contractor split that cable signal into 4 different rooms. And so what Stuart actually showed me when he pointed where the 4-way cable splitter was that small device was actually almost half broken. It was, the housing of it was actually already cracked. And so the energy of where the cable was coming in, but was being split 4 ways, was too much for that small device to bear, where it was actually already breaking. And so what we ended up doing was that we replaced that 4-way cable splitter into a 2-way splitter. And sure enough, after installing that, the cable worked fine. The Wi-Fi finally worked and it was consistent. Even after a day or two after Stuart left our house visit, it didn't even stop once. And so what that incident really taught me was that, wow, if your energy is split multiple ways, more than you can really handle, Is that the most efficient way of managing your time and energy? I mean, that Wi-Fi incident really made me reevaluate what's going on in my own life. How am I growing my business, my family, my relationships? It really gave me pause to assess, am I efficiently managing my time and energy? And so the main takeaway I want you to get from this story is that, are you consciously and subconsciously managing how you spend your time and energy? You've heard me say this before in episode 3, where I went over the imagination. Where your thoughts go, energy flows. Where energy flows, manifestation grows. So are you consciously and subconsciously manifesting what you want in life in the most efficient way? And so last but not least is where. Where are you growing? Now, depending what you're growing and how you're growing it, this combo will give you a good indication of the direction that you're heading towards. Are the seeds and thoughts of what you want to grow and the amount of energy you spend in each of those verticals, is that in alignment with what your soul is yearning for? If I want to get better shape, but I spend zero time and effort in physical activity, will that yield me the results that I want? If I'm searching for a more fulfilling life, but I don't give myself the space or time to do things that move my heart, how will I know what will make me feel fulfilled? As I mentioned before, your mind is like a garden. You are the gardener. This is why I shared the concept before of the soil, water, and sun. The soil is the environment that you're rooted in. Is the soil that you surround yourself in, is it nourishing and supporting you, or is it depleting your nutrients? Water, are you consistently watering your mind? Do you read a page of a book? Are you listening to a podcast? Are you watching a video that's nourishing your mind on a daily basis? And the sun, where are you getting your sun rays from? What is making your soul and heart feel so fulfilled? Are you giving yourself the space and time to feel fulfilled? The soil, water, sun is the analogy I use to help you understand what are you doing externally to help cultivate if you're growing in the right direction. Now, internally, this is where the 3 core pillars of Boom Visions come to play. It's the imagination, voice, and intuition. Your imagination, think about it in your mind. How big is your soil? Is it a small planter's box in your backyard? Or is it a huge botanical garden that's few acres wide? Your voice or inner voice. Your thoughts are your seeds. So are the thoughts that you're saying to yourself internally, are they seeds or are they weeds that you're consciously and subconsciously planting? Are you saying I can versus saying I can't? And your intuition, what you feel internally. Do you have a habit of checking in with yourself on a daily basis to acknowledge how you're feeling in the present moment? Do you have a set it and forget it mindset with your inner garden? Or are you listening to your soul GPS when it's signaling to you if you're on the right track or if you need to course correct and how you're managing your inner garden? So with that said, what are the action steps for this week's episode? I want you to use the CAL method in evaluating what and how you're growing. The CAL method, C stands for calm. Is your state of mind calm? Find a way that calms your mind so you turn off your wind tunnel, like I mentioned in previous episodes. This could be a simple 1-minute breathwork exercise. It could be meditation. It could be running or jogging. Anything to help you calm your mind down so that your thoughts can slowly and gently fall to the ground to give you that moment of clarity. A stands for awareness. Bring awareness to how efficiently or inefficiently you are acting as a gardener of your mind. For this next stage of your life, are you planting the right seeds and giving it the necessary amount of energy to grow this current stage? Are your thoughts and ideas in the infancy stages? Or is it more self-reliant where you just need to monitor with occasional support? You raise a teenager differently than a newborn and vice versa. So whatever is in top priority for your life, are you matching the necessary energy and time that it needs to grow effectively? L stands for language. Are you asking the right questions? Do you use languages like, I don't know how? Or can I invite you to ask yourself instead, who can I ask to learn how? You don't have to do it alone. You can always ask and seek help. You just need to give yourself the space and permission to learn and grow with the right support, the right soil that surrounds you. You don't need to do this alone. So final thoughts for today's episode. There's a quote I want to share. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. This quote was by Maya Angelou. Folks, I hope today's episode you have a better assessment of what and how you are growing in areas of your life that matter to you. Do not underestimate yourself and what you are capable of seeing, feeling, and doing. You've got this. And if you're new to Boom Vision, welcome to this community. I'm grateful you are here. To make it really easy for you to calm yourself every day, I've created a 1-minute breathwork music file that you can easily download on your phone. Just head over to the show notes of this episode, and you'll be able to download this free file when you subscribe to our Boom Vision community and newsletter. This is my gift to you. I love to hear your thoughts. Send me a DM on Instagram at Benjamin Ye and let me know what seeds you're planting for yourself and how you're growing. Or leave a comment and review if you resonate with today's episode. Until next time, folks, be kind to yourself. Be in delight. Be you. Thank you so much for tuning in to my Boom Vision podcast. If you'd like to find out more about me and this podcast, head over to benjaminye.com. That's spelled BenjaminYeh.com. If you haven't already, click subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.